Hello everyone. So I welcome you all to another series of MRCOG Part 3 Back to Basics YouTube series. I'm Dr. Upasna Palo and I'm a gynae oncologist, and today I'll be covering the module of oncology. Practice is your ticket to success. This quote is very important and very apt as far as your part 3 exams are concerned. As your part 3, the most important thing as far as MRCOG part 3 is concerned is practice. Having a good study buddy and practicing all the stations regularly with your study partner is the most essential, the single most essential step in your success towards your part 3 MRCOG exam. So let us now look at the topics that we have in hand as far as the oncology module is concerned. So what are the frequently asked topics in this module? They can ask you questions from cervical cancer screening, HPV testing, cervical cytology reports may be given, and then they can ask you the management. So it may be in the form of a patient simulated task, counseling on HPV vaccination program. So maybe a young lady has come to you with a 9-year-old kid and she wants to know what are the pros and cons of vaccination, whether she should go ahead with the vaccination or not, where you need to explain what are the different types of vaccines available in UK. So Gardasil 9 is now available and is usually given in UK. So the various aspects, what can be the side effects, what are the benefits of doing the HPV vaccination, all these things you need to cover in this task. Now, endometrial hyperplasia, both with atypia or without atypia can be asked. With atypia, it can be asked as a fertility sparing station also. It may be combined that yes, the lady, she wants fertility, she is infertile, she wants for a baby. So how will you follow her up? How will you manage her? The need to put in a LNG IUS in such a case. So all these things you need to emphasize in this station. Pre-malignant condition of the vulva, they can give you a station on VIN. They can ask you regarding lichen sclerosis. They can ask you regarding Paget's disease of the vulva. So all these conditions have been asked in your previous exam. Carcinoma cervix, endometrium, vulva. Usually these carcinoma stations, they come as breaking bad news stations. Choriocarcinoma also may be asked. Persistent GTD, molar pregnancy, all the stations can be asked. So usually it may be given that yes, this patient underwent a biopsy. Now she has come to you for attending the reports regarding what is the biopsy report, where you need to break the news of that yes, she is having cancer and what should be her further management options, that you need to explain it to her. Borderline ovarian tumor, how to counsel a lady with a BRCA gene if she wants to go for a RRSO. All these things are pertaining to the familial cancer syndromes or the hereditary cancer syndromes. They can ask you regarding Lynch syndrome, hereditary breast ovarian cancer syndrome. Now, postmenopausal bleeding, what are the options? How will you counsel the daughter? What are the options? What are the various causes for postmenopausal bleeding? How are you going to evaluate? First, you are going to check for the endometrial thickness and then accordingly go for the biopsy. Now, colposcopy, they can give you as a scenario, they can give you as a structure discussion, they can also ask you as a teaching station where you need to teach the various aspects of colposcopy to your junior. Early stage cancer of cervix in a young patient, if she wants fertility sparing treatment in the form of a conization or a trachelectomy, depending on the stage of the cancer cervix, you need to provide the management options to her. Ovarian cyst in a young patient, and it may have a complex ovarian mass in a pre or postmenopausal patient. That is mainly the postmenopausal adnexal mass management, the flow chart where you need to calculate the RMI score may be given to you. Now, in pregnancy, they can ask you scenarios like breast cancer in pregnancy has already been asked, CIN in pregnancy, they have already asked. So all these things may be asked in cases of cancer in pregnancy. Ovarian SOL with the RMI score can be asked, where you need to no, they have given you a CA-125. The patient has come to you with abdominal distension and swelling, and then how to manage about the entire station. Now, what is expected to you from in an oncology module? So they do not want oncology is basically an advanced training module, and as far as UK is concerned, it is a in the advanced training module. So from an ST5, so while you are doing your Part 3 MRCOG exam, they only expect knowledge from you of an ST5 training. So what is expected from you in a Part 3 oncology module? They do not expect much from you. They just want to know that whether you are sound regarding the principles of pre-malignant screening, how you need to screen for vulval, vaginal, cervical, and endometrial cancers, whether you know the various aspects of screening, whether you are aware regarding the staging of cancers, because they can give you a scenario and the question may be, the role player may ask you, what is my stage? Or in a case of structured discussion, they might ask you, would you stage this cancer? They may give you a scenario and they can ask you the staging. So please go through the FIGO staging of cancers once, just a day before the exam maybe. And what are the various form of investigation you are going to go for each cancer, and what will be the treatment options that you are going to give it to her. Okay, so no need to go into detail regarding the entire thing. Only having a brief idea regarding the entire thing will do. Okay, I'll just help you out regarding the various management of the different cancers as far as they are concerned. Now, MDT is very important. Uttering the term MDT in an oncology module is very, very important. So, multidisciplinary team board. So, each management for each of the cancer, it usually the management passes through a multidisciplinary team board, and after that, they offer the treatment to the patient. You should be aware regarding the timelines from the referral to the treatment of the patient, the principles of chemotherapy, what are the side effects of chemotherapy, radiotherapy, palliative care in case the patient has come to you in stage 4 disease, and how you need to offer her psychological support. So as I already told you that Part 3 emphasizes on communication and practice. So please remember all these things, even if you do not remember the exact applied clinical knowledge. Even because there in Part 3 they judge you basically on the 4 domains. So even if you get pass marks in your information gathering and your communication skills are good, so maybe you will get a pass mark in information gathering, communication, patient safety, and even if you are lacking in your applied clinical knowledge, the other 4 will actually make up for the entire thing. Breaking bad news, you should follow the principles of breaking bad news. Almost all the oncology stations, they are breaking bad news stations, mostly breaking bad news station, where always you will have a lay examiner there. So the lay examiner will actually judge whether you are empathetic enough, whether you are showing sympathy, adequate sympathy, and whether you are kind to the patient while breaking the bad news, whether you are following the steps of breaking the bad news. So that is very important. Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, what are the principles, indications? She will definitely ask you what will be the side effects of chemotherapy. So please keep that in mind. Principles of palliative care, including pain control and dying in case a patient has been given to you at a terminal stage, that also may be required. Now, certain tips in this while performing this oncology module. So always utter the term MDT, as I already mentioned, that MDT is very, very important. And while mentioning MDT, please mention the name of the people who are there in the MDT. So that what will that help in? That also gives you marks in your communication with the colleagues domain. So that because you are uttering the name of your colleague. So an MDT, it usually consists of a gynecologic oncologist, a clinical oncologist, a radiation oncologist, a oncopathologist, a cancer specialist nurse who is a Macmillan nurse, a radiologist. And so these are some of the members of the MDT. Always involve the senior colleagues in a cancer domain, because this is an advanced training module, or involve your consultant and give adequate tell them adequately regarding what are the investigations you're going to offer to them and what will be the treatment therein, and tell them regarding the indications, techniques, complications, and outcomes in case you are going for a colposcopy, any procedure, any biopsy procedure. Please tell them what can be the complication and what can be the possible outcome for this. Okay, and always in an oncology module, you should bear in mind that this can be a breaking bad news station, this can be an angry patient station, where maybe you have done a hysterectomy and then it has come out to be cancer. Now the lady is worried that why it was not evaluated earlier. So such such stations can come to you where it may be that you're dealing with an angry patient. So you should know how to deal with an angry patient, how to deal with break the bad news, and knowledge regarding the cancer survival statistics. So coming to the information gathering domain in oncology module, so always start with the introduction. Introduce yourself that yes, hello, I'm Dr. Upasna. I'm one of the doctors in the oncology clinic today. So may I know your name and age, please? And as far as setting the agenda, always start with an open-ended question. So can you tell me more about your problem? So something like that. So let the role player speak. Let the role player speak, and please do not make a habit to offer leading questions to the role player, because there will be innumerable questions you are going on asking and the role player will be simply telling you yes or no. So please start with an open-ended question and allow the role player to speak, so that the role player can tell you exactly the points where the marks are hidden. So if you answer all the queries of the role player, automatically you are getting points in your station. Okay. So history of present illness, usually it can be postmenopausal bleeding, postcoital bleeding, heavy menstrual bleeding, irregular periods, or intermenstrual bleeding, pain abdomen, then abdominal distension, weight loss, appetite loss. This is very important if you are suspecting an ovarian cancer. Please ask if you are suspecting something cancerous, please remember asking weight loss, appetite loss. Details about the patient's concern, regularity in the smear. Smear history is really important. Do not forget to ask regarding the smear history. Sexual history is important. Pain or bleeding during intercourse, especially in case of cervical cancer. Obstetric history, any fertility concern is important, because accordingly you need to give her the management. In case she wants for fertility sparing surgery, then you have to keep that in mind. Family history of cancer, always remember Lynch syndrome and hereditary breast ovarian cancer syndrome. Now, personal history of BMI, smoking, alcohol, recreational drugs. Social support is very important. You need to judge, because in a case of cancer, she needs a lot of support at home. So how is her support at home? Is she feeling down, depressed? If she has any idea that yes, she is suffering from cancer. Allergic history is always you need to ask in a station. So allergic history, in case of iodine allergy, you need to omit giving Lugos iodine to the patient while doing a colposcopy, and you may need to examine in the presence of a SAPROM with her consent. Communication with the patient, the same thing mainly. Use always in oncology station, to be precise, always remember to use non-medical language. Okay, so there is very high probability of using jargons while explaining the oncology module, while explaining the various terms, while explaining chemotherapy, radiotherapy. There is a high chance that you are using some medical jargons. So please make it a point, and it comes with practice, that you avoid using any of the jargons while interacting with the patient. Now, this is the basic steps of breaking bad news. I'll just go through it once. I'm sure you all know. So I know that you have come to discuss the results of your biopsy, but before that, is it all right that I get some background information about you? As I'm meeting you for the first time, then you take the history. Then check the understanding of the patient. Why do you think that you had these tests, and what is your understanding? And also check whether she already knows regarding the results. The first warning shot is, there is something important that I have to discuss. Would you like someone else to be with you? Would you like to call somebody? Then she will tell you, no, I'm okay, I'm fine. Then you need to tell her that I'm afraid I don't have good news. Then you give her the results straight, and then please pause. This pause is very important. After giving the results, you need to wait. Let her break down, let her show her emotions. Please wait. Okay, pause. Do not rush. Give the results and then pause. Show empathy when she is crying. I'm so sorry. I wish I had better news. I know it comes to you as a shock. Then please allow, in case she is crying or in case she is showing her emotions, please do not jump to the management. Please allow her to show some empathy. Please allow her to show some grief reaction, and then tell her that, do you want me to call your partner, or do you want my midwife Sarah to assist you? Something like that. This thing will, please do not jump to the management, seeing that yes, the time is ticking by and I won't be able to cover the management. Please do not do that, because you will lose marks on your communication in case you do that. Okay, so please give her some time, and give yourself some time, so that you get full marks from the lay examiner. Okay. I can see that you're upset. In case she continues with her crying, then you can say that I can see that you're upset. Would you like to continue the consultation, or should I arrange another appointment for you? Then let her say that, please, doctor, continue the consultation. Then you please proceed with the management. Do not rush into the management. Okay, it's a strict no. Now, always have a sympathetic tone, express genuine concern, empathy, sensitive, levity, and being sensitive, and be a non-judgmental approach gives you full marks in your, helps you score full marks in your communication. Warm and open body language, constant eye contact, use of phrases like I'm afraid I don't have good news. Use simple language. Try and explain the diagnosis in a very simple manner, and always check her understanding in between. Encourage her to ask questions. Is it something you would like me to repeat? Something like that. You need to tell her. So please remember, in part 3, the most important domain is communication. The most important. Okay, and applied clinical knowledge comes very far behind. Okay, so ask if they would like any other appointment to discuss the additional details. So always give 2 warning shots and tell her that this may be a case of, in case you have found that she has a complex SOL and the RMI score is high, then you need to tell her that I'm sorry, but I tell you that the risk of it being a cancer is high, because you have a growth or a tumor in your right ovary. We do not know what it is, so you may need a staging procedure. So what is a staging procedure? That is, it is an extensive operation which we do by opening the tummy. We remove the womb, both the tubes and the ovaries, and take biopsy of the suspected areas. In case the tumor comes out to be malignant in the frozen section, then we may need to remove the lymph nodes as well. So this is entirely is the staging procedure, which you need to explain the patient in her own language without using the jargons. Okay, lymph nodes are the small amount of tissue that line the blood vessels, and they may carry cancer. Okay, these are actually the areas where the cancer spreads first. These questions are inevitably asked in an oncology module, that is, am I going to die? So how to answer this question? So many students have asked me how to answer such questions, how to deal with these questions when we are dealing with the oncology module. Am I going to die? You still don't know the stage and the grade. In case you are aware of the stage and the grade, then you should give her a 5-year survival. In case you do not know, then just tell her that I can see where your question is coming from and why you are concerned and worried about that. Most of us do link cancer with death. At the moment, I can't really give you a percentage, because we still need to know the type and spread of cancer, and we will know all of that after your tests have been done. For the time being, I know it can be very difficult taking your mind out of that, but how about you wait and see what type and stage of cancer it is. So mostly in the cancers or in the stations you are provided, usually the thing is that they will give you a biopsy report of cancer, that may be endometrial cancer. She has underwent endometrial pipple biopsy, which has come out to be endometrioid cancer, but they have still not done any further imaging, any further MRI, and you do not, or neither the surgery has been done, so you are not sure regarding the stage of the disease. So this, in case you are not sure about what is the stage, what is the grade, and what is the type of cancer, then this is how you're going to answer her question. Also, I want to assure you that treatment of cancer has advanced very much, and we have a lot of modalities of treatment like heat therapy, medications, and surgery, either to remove the cancer totally or to control it. So this is how you are going to pacify the patient that she is not going to die, and still there are a lot of treatment modalities, and you will try your best to help her out. So how long do I have to leave? What if this would be cancer? So these are some of the questions asked frequently in your oncology module. So you are need to tell her that, yes, Mrs. Smith or Mrs. whatever her name is, I can see that the situation is very distressing to you, which is acceptable. I have just informed you that the chances of cancer is high. We, the team of multidisciplinary team of doctors, will thoroughly evaluate the condition and would give the best possible solution for the condition, and would continuously be involved in your care. There are people who have battled cancer and are living a happy life. If you wish, I would give you links to certain organizations to support you. Also, I shall put you in contact with the psychological counselor in case you are feeling down. So these are some of the repeatedly asked questions. Please remember, or please practice these lines in your own way, or you can also rearrange the same thing in your own way. And please remember, this is how you're going to deal a patient in an oncology module. So because these questions are frequently asked, and there are students who have frequently asked me how to deal with these questions, that is the reason why I have included these questions for your better understanding. Now, coming to an angry patient, in an angry patient, always remain calm and composed, be confident, convey only the truth, and please apologize for the happening to the patient, because you need to apologize. Maybe there has been something wrong done, and some complication has happened. That is the reason why she has been angry. She might ask you that why this was not detected before, why was I not diagnosed cancer before, why did they do a hysterectomy, now they are saying that again they need to go in and they need to remove the lymph nodes. So why this has happened? So if there was a mistake, please acknowledge and say that these incidents are taken very seriously, and the investigation will be done, and appropriate incident reporting will be done, and please try and carry the conversation forward. And in case she tells you that no, there has been a complication, maybe your surgeon doesn't know how to operate, then please tell her that I can understand where this is coming from. However, all the surgeons who are operating on a case are have to be signed off as competent before they start operating on a patient. And in case she keeps on persisting, you need to guide her to the further NHS complaint pathway. Now, communication with the colleagues, as I already told you, please remember to mention the name of the constituents of the MDT. Always, always, always make it a point, because that will give you marks in your communication with colleagues. Remember the MDT coordinator, to mention regarding the MDT coordinator, genetic counselor. So MDT coordinator is the person who actually arranges the MDT and ensures that there is a proper documentation of the MDT. Now, consultant has to be involved in case of an MDT, in case of an oncology module. Now, this is the example of an MDT form. This is they can give you station on this MDT form, a teaching station, how to fill up the MDT form, or maybe someone has filled up the MDT form and you need to see whether it has been filled up correctly or not, or it can be asked in the form of a structured discussion also. So please remember that the name, the patient details, then the consultant details, what are the imaging done, the history details, the histology details, what other investigations may be required, and what is the treatment modality which is recommended by the MDT. This is all is mentioned in the MDT form. Now, coming to the applied clinical knowledge domain. So in the applied clinical knowledge domain, you are required to know regarding the staging of cancer, what are the investigation required, what is the treatment, and what is the survival statistics in case of cancer. Remember the 2-week referral pathway in case of cancer, that is from starting from the GP referral till it should be usually a 14 days week pathway, that is in case of a high suspicion of cancer. And starting from the referral till the treatment, it should be 62 days. And from the decision to treat to treatment, it should be 31 days. So in case she tells you, or she is very anxious, she asks you that, okay, now that I have been diagnosed as cancer, and when should my treatment start? So once you have first seen her, till the treatment, it is 62 minus 14 days. So that should be the amount. And once the MDT decision has been there to treat, the treatment should commence within 31 days. So in case she asks you some of the leading questions, you should be able to answer that. Now, coming to the 5-year survival rate. So many students have asked me for the 5-year survival rate and what should they answer in case of the question of how long do I live, how long do I stay. So please remember this. This is directly from the Cancer Research UK. So what do you mean by 5-year survival, or how do you explain what is 5-year survival? So 5-year survival is actually the number of people who have not died from cancer within 5 years after diagnosis. It is not that these many people will only remain alive after 5 years. This is not the concept. Please, please. Many of you do mistake over there. So please remember, 5-year survival is the number of people who have actually not died from the cancer within 5 years after diagnosis. So in case it is 95%, that means 95 out of 100 women will survive their cancer for 5 years or more after they are diagnosed. So that is the meaning of 95% 5-year survival. Okay, so you can just go through this table. So this is directly from the Cancer Research UK. So stage 1 is in case of uterine is 90, 75, 50, 15. So you can see for stage 1 mostly it is 90 to 95%, and stage 2 is somewhere around 70%, stage 3 is 50 to 40%, and stage 4 is again dismal, that is 15%. In vulva, this is the stage 4, 5-year survival is not known, so 40% is the 1-year survival in case of stage 4 vulva. Okay, please note that. Now, this is the diagram for the overall survival in case you want to remember. So it's always better. Please remember the 5-year survival in case you do not know the stage wise. And in case the patient doesn't know, you are not aware of the stage of the patient, in order to give an overall idea to the patient, you can just tell that yes, the 1-year survival in case of uterine cancer is 90%, the 5-year survival is 75%, the 10-year survival is 70%. So in case you do not have any idea regarding the stage of the cancer and there has not been any further investigations or the cancer, and you're not aware of the stage, then you can use this overall survival chart. This is the older one, the 1-year survival chart as per Cancer Research UK, but now recently they have removed the 1-year survival chart. They have only included the 5 years. So I would suggest that you go through the 5-year survival and the overall survival chart, and you can skip the 1-year survival chart. Okay, so here I had included some of the conditions like borderline ovarian tumor and how to explain all these conditions. So for all these conditions, please make templates and please revise them so that you are able to explain. So this is for borderline ovarian tumor. These are abnormal cells that form in the tissue covering the ovary, and they are not cancerous. And they are different from the ovarian cancer because their growth never invades the supportive tissue of the ovary, which is known as the stroma. And usually for BOT, we do an entire exploration, something known as a staging laparotomy. In case she wants fertility, then you can go for a fertility sparing surgery. Or in case she doesn't want fertility, then you can do a total abdominal hysterectomy, infracolic omentectomy, and appendectomy may be required in case of mucinous tumor. Similarly, how to explain an abnormal smear. So abnormal smear, you need to explain her that an abnormal smear can be graded into borderline, low grade, and high grade, and it depends on the degree of abnormal cells found in the smear. The most severe type of abnormal smear is the high grade dyskaryosis, and in such a case, you need to offer her a colposcopy. Okay, so and then you can explain regarding how the colposcopy is done and what are the different treatments you can offer in case you find suspicious areas in the colposcopy. That is, you can do a large loop excision of the transformation zone, or a cone biopsy can be done. So this is the referral pathway for colposcopy. That is, in case of invasion or high-grade dyskaryosis, usually a 2-week pathway. In case of low-grade dyskaryosis or borderline changes, it is an 18-week pathway. Now, VIN similarly is a precancerous condition of the vulva, and it is a precancer, and you can explain that the skin is divided into 3 layers, the epidermis or the top layer, and then in case it invades all the entire thickness, then it is VIN3. Usually in VIN, please remember to mention the term vulval clinic. Usually you go for surgery, that is the wide local excision. In case surgery is contraindicated for some reason, then you can go for topical imiquimod or laser treatment. Okay, and vulval hygiene is always very important. And always remember, in case of VIN, you need to remember that 1 in 20 women treated with VIN may develop vulval cancer, and 1 in 5 will already have vulval cancer, and the need for regular follow-up. Paget's disease of the vulva. Similarly, Paget's disease of the vulva is an abnormal change in the cells which cover the skin of the vulva, and they may occur like patches on the vulva. It is usually associated with an abnormal growth of the tissue in the sweat glands of the vulva. It is usually of 2 types, that is the primary Paget's and the secondary Paget's. Secondary Paget's is secondary to some other condition, that is either an anorectal or a urothelial cancer. So in such a case, you need to rule out whether it is a primary or a secondary Paget's disease. Okay. And here also in the management, refer to a vulval clinic, and usually surgery is the most important form of management in case of Paget's disease of the vulva. Now, Lynch syndrome, they have asked you questions regarding Lynch syndrome and your this hereditary breast ovarian cancer syndrome. So please remember, in case of Lynch syndrome, we go ahead with risk reducing hysterectomy and a bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy, usually done at 40 years of age. In case of BRCA1, we go with a bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy at the age of 35. In BRCA2, we go with a bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy at a delayed age of 45 years. Okay. So now coming to radiotherapy, how to explain radiotherapy? So radiotherapy involves use of high energy radiation where a machine directs beams of radiation onto the section of the body that contains the cancer in order to destroy the cancerous cells. And there are a number of side effects with this radiation therapy or heat therapy. That is, it can lead to soreness of the skin, diarrhea, feeling tired all the time, swelling of the area, narrowing of the vagina, and it may cause dyspareunia as well. Now, coming to chemotherapy, how to explain chemotherapy? So, chemotherapy is where the medication is used to kill the cancer cells. It is usually given by injection, and the side effects are tiredness, feeling and being sick, hair thinning or hair loss, sore mouth, mouth ulcers, increased risk of infection. And lastly, you must always mention the support group. So for as far as the oncology domain is concerned, so the support groups are Macmillan Cancer Support, Cancer Research UK, Living with Cancer. So these are some of the cancer support groups as formed as oncology is concerned. Okay. So I would be glad in case you have any further questions or you want to cover me to cover something else or any other further domain. Please feel free to write in the chat box, and please like and subscribe our channel so as to get notifications for more such informative series. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending the sessions. And we at Study Medic, we always try and we always strive to help our students out there to successfully clear the Part 3 MRCOG exam. Thank you so much.